Hi, welcome to the Rocket Recovery Podcast. I am your host, Zach S. I wanted to thank you for joining us on this journey here. This is a project that has been revolving around in my mind for several years now. I feel like now is the best time to release this into the void. I am admittedly scared out of my mind to be doing this. This is something that is going to be very revealing, very raw, very open, and I'm scared to death whether it's going to be accepted into the world, whether it will add to the conversation rather than detract from it. But before we go further into my own insecurities here, I want to just share with you a little bit about what Rocket Recovery is all about why we exist, what I hope this podcast will do for the world, and hope that this will somehow be of service and of benefit to those who are suffering. So, what is Rocket Recovery? Rocket Recovery is taken from a concept that is introduced in the Blue Book of Alcoholics Anonymous in the 4th edition. If you have a blue book, I encourage you to turn to the page where Bill W. is giving his story. And he says on the night of his recovery, of where he actually admits all of his faults, that he was rocketed into the 4th dimension of existence and his life was never the same. It is my hope that through this podcast that it can serve as a vehicle for you, dear listener, to also rocket in your recovery, to rocket to the 4th dimension of existence, as the author of AA so eloquently put it. The 4th dimension of existence is probably a dimension that you have yet to live in as one who is suffering. And I hope that this time will be beneficial for you to rocket, that it will serve as a vehicle that you can jump on board and rocket in your own recovery. In my own recovery process, it was difficult very much for me to get past certain plateaus in my life. I needed not another set of tools, but I needed a new vehicle on which to use these tools to help take me to that next level. I plateaued. I had gotten to a certain point in my recovery journey. It may be different for every single person on this call, whatever that point happens to be. But you get to a point in your recovery journey where it's just, you've just gotten stuck. You've stopped. Perhaps you are a member of the Reddit community NoFap that I've invited in. Maybe you've gone a few days, a week, couple weeks, a month, or more in your recovery process. If you even know what recovery is at this point, I don't know. It's just like, I just know that I need to stop looking at porn, right? And you're just, man, what do I do? What do I do? So you've gone to Reddit. Often Reddit's been a place where you've gotten your porn. There are certainly places to go find that in any community. You can go on Facebook or YouTube or wherever and find, acting out material. But there's a community that serves to help those. And they do it by just doing a 90 days fast on pornography and on masturbation. So you've decided, no, I'm not going to do this anymore. Maybe you're at that point. Maybe you have joined other groups locally in your own community. Maybe there's a Celebrate Recovery group. Maybe there's a Route 1520 group. Maybe there is one of hundreds of groups that have been made available out there through nonprofit agencies or just, groups of people, guys wanting to get together and help. Maybe you're a member of a church or other religious organization that has provided services for those that are in the throes of their addiction. There's that moral component that the church often addresses that gets so far, but then there's the medical side of things that therapists, etc., would delve into that also needs to be addressed. So maybe you're a member of an anonymous group and you need help in your recovery process. Maybe you just started going. Maybe you've been going for a while. Maybe you're an old timer. Perhaps you have yet to begin your 12-step process. You're in the midst of the 12-step process. Or you have graduated, if you will, to your 12th step work, and you're helping others in their recovery. You may be a former AAer or SAAer or SA, PNA, whatever anonymous group you happen to be a part of. You're an active member, old passive member, wherever you happen to be. If you feel stuck, if you feel like you have plateaued, if you feel like you have gone so far in your journey, you lack the tools or the means by which to apply those tools, this podcast is for you. It's my sincere hope that we can somehow, in some way, help get you to that next level. So what does that look like? What will that look like here on this podcast? First off, there's going to be episodes where I just talk. My name is Zach S. I'm a recovered sex addict. I have been working my recovery process for almost 5 years now. Through what's called the SAA, Sex Addicts Anonymous group. It is a 12-step group. So a lot of my context comes from 12th step work or 12-step work. So I'll be talking. I'll be covering concepts and ideas, something that I think that might be pertinent for those that are in the recovery process. Hopefully this will be helpful by me just talking. It'll be short episodes, 20, 25 minutes long. Nothing too bad. There will be other episodes where we will cover, concepts from the AA Big Book. And we'll go into why the AA Big Book and not, one of the other dozens of books. It's the blue book, the green book, the white book, the pink book, what have you. We'll be diving into those concepts coming directly from the book. Typically, those will be with guests, other recovered addicts that have walked this process. They will be sharing their stories. They'll be sharing these concepts. We'll be talking about things that plague those that are in addiction. In addition to recovered addicts joining us, there will also be other guests. There will be those who have been walking alongside addicts, such as therapists or counselors, people that are professionals and help those that are in recovery. Perhaps we'll be talking to partners of sex addicts and trying to get their perspective. We'll do book recommendations and other articles that could be recommended. Some having specifically to do with sex addiction, others that just talk about the things that plague those with sex addiction. What is true, genuine, authentic masculinity, and what is toxic masculinity? And not toxic in the way that maybe bandied about on Fox News or other conservative sites, and icky. It's certainly not the woke version of toxic masculinity, where men as a whole need to be repressed. We don't need to create another oppressed group with white men. We often feel oppressed enough by our addictions. We don't want to add fuel to the fire. But we'll be having all of those types of conversations as well. We're really I'm gonna put my all into this and really hope that this will be beneficial to you. I'll be recording another episode, episode number 2. This is episode 0, if you will, an introduction. Episode 1, we'll be talking about the addictive process and what that looks like. See if you identify with being a true addict, or are you just simply a heavy user, a light, moderate user, somebody that is just, morally convicted because you're a religious person or something like that? Or is this really a medical issue that needs serious, concentrated, focused help? We all need serious, concentrated, focused help in our lives, but does it need to be directed generally or very, very, very specifically towards this addiction? I know what's worked for me, and it's been all of the above. We'll see what it works for you. Hopefully we'll introduce to you some new concepts, some things to think about, ideas to discuss with your sponsor, with those that care and love for you, those that you're walking this path of happy destiny with. I thank you so much for your time. This has already been maybe a little bit too long, but I hope this serves as a good introduction to what we're trying to accomplish here. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for listening thus far, and we hope that future episodes of Rocket Recovery Podcast will be helpful for you on your journey to living an authentic, open, and abundant life. Again, this is Zach S. with Rocket Recovery. Thank you so much for listening. I'll talk to you next time.